Trade incoming. For weeks, we have reported on other teams' trade interest in Knicks center Jericho Sims. As we approach the trade deadline, we now have a better understanding on what teams want to trade for Sims. But these reports are shocking because they indicate the favorites to land Jericho Sims is the Brooklyn Nets. We're also going to take a look at the Knicks' current trade plans, as reports indicate New York is currently exploring their trade options. We're going to break down all of these latest reports today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications turned on. So anytime we drop new content, you get notified. And now, let's get started. The Brooklyn Nets are the favorites to land Jericho Sims via trade. The Knicks have a lot of decisions that they need to make, but at this point, I think it's pretty clear. New York will trade Jericho Sims before the deadline. Jericho Sims' role on this roster has been situational at best, and it's been that way ever since Precious Achiuwa returned. And last night, even though he started in place of the injured Karl Anthony Towns, I thought he did a very good job of increasing his trade value, doing what he does best out there, playing good defense and getting rebounds. And I think he put pressure on the league in terms of teams that want to trade for him to make the move now before they lose out on the opportunity. And to close out last night's game, we saw that the Knicks went with Achiuwa, and they went with Achiuwa even in overtime. Given the fact that they did that, it tells me exactly where they stand on Jericho Sims. And that means it's only a matter of time before Sims is moved to another team. But that begs the question, what team are the Knicks going to trade Sims to? Well, according to these latest reports, it reveals that the Brooklyn Nets are the favorites to land Jericho Sims via trade. Let's take a look at the following reports. Shout out to NBA Central on the app X for giving us the following information. This information comes from Bovada Official, and according to them, the Brooklyn Nets are the favorites to win the Jericho Sims sweepstakes. Sweepstakes? According to them, the Brooklyn Nets are at plus 155. Right after them are the Portland Trail Blazers at plus 325. Then it's the New Orleans Pelicans, the Sacramento Kings, the Indiana Pacers, and then rounding out the list are the Charlotte Hornets. Shout out to Sports Illustrated for giving us the following information. According to them, Sims is making just over $2 million this season, so a trade between the Knicks and the Nets could easily get done. Brooklyn has other veterans to trade, such as Day'Ron Sharpe and Cameron Johnson, so any deal could involve Sims being packaged if the two rivals decide to negotiate. When I first saw this report, I can't lie to you guys, I was absolutely shocked because I expected to see the Houston Rockets as the main team going after Sims. To see the Brooklyn Nets there, yeah, I was taken back a little bit. Does that mean that the Knicks and the Nets are going to do business again? Because I thought we finished doing business after the Knicks traded for Mikal Bridges this offseason. But according to these reports, the Nets are the current favorites to land Jericho Sims. Now, I do have to mention, even though Sports Illustrated just stated that the Nets do have players that they're looking to trade, it doesn't mean that if they traded for Sims, they would be giving us back a player. Because at this point, all the reports have been consistent. If the Knicks trade Jericho Sims, the only thing they're likely going to get back is 1 second-round pick, 2 second-round picks if they're lucky. But they're also going to get something else if they do that. They're going to free up an additional roster spot and free up cap space. Now, what will they have the ability to do if that happens? They can go to Westchester, and they can either sign a TJ Warren or a Chuma Okeke or a Moses Brown and add him to this roster. Another player who could have a great impact under head coach Tom Thibodeau, and a good way to add another player at low cost to the roster without having to make any type of trades that give away additional assets that you really don't want to give away right now, that you may want to hold on to for a trade down the road. New York can do that if they're smart with Jericho. And I don't mind if they make that trade to Brooklyn, if they make that trade to the Trailblazers or any other team on that list. The main goal here is to get assets back, free up cap space, and get that additional roster spot. And then the Knicks can make other moves. Again, going to Westchester, maybe making a trade, another trade, or looking at the buyout market. But we also have an update about the Knicks' current trade plans and what they're looking to do right now. Shout out to NBA insider Steph Bondy for giving us this following information as well, too. According to Bondy, Mitchell Robinson still hasn't played this season while recovering from a second ankle surgery. And the Knicks, according to sources, are exploring options in the trade market as they await his return. Robinson hasn't started sprinting yet, but Tom Thibodeau said he expects the center to return to practice this month. As the Post reported, the Knicks are currently shopping backup center Jericho Sims on the trade market. And as we just mentioned, the Brooklyn Nets are the favorites to land him if New York trades him. I appreciate Steph Bondy clarifying this point because a lot of people have been torn whether the Knicks are trying to make a move right now, whether it's all smoke, or really whether they're just standing pat and not making any move at all. But it's clear, as of right now, at this very moment, the Knicks are exploring their trade options, looking to see who's available that they can make a trade for. Now, your question is probably the same question I had after reading that report. What are the options? What players are the Knicks looking to trade for and add to this team? Well, shout out to Jake Fischer of Yahoo Sports for giving us this following information when he was a guest on the Bad Weather Fans podcast. Shout out to my guy Alex B on the app X for giving us this following quote from Fisher. According to him, I think the only scenario where you see the Knicks do a move of actual consequence here is putting Mitchell Robinson in something that brings them back a Jonas Valanciunas or a Robert Williams III level player. As we saw yesterday, one of the Knicks' main trade targets in Nick Richards was traded to the Phoenix Suns for a number of second-round picks. And that makes it clear, if they go after Jonas Valanciunas, if they go after Robert Williams III, or any one of these players, the only thing they're going to have to give up is salary matching and second-round picks. If they do that, they can get any one of these players. For me, I would rather the Knicks go after Jonas Valanciunas only because of his availability. Now, if you could promise me and assure me that Robert Williams III would not get injured again, would be available for the rest of this season and the postseason, then I would go after him because fit-wise, he makes the most sense for this team. But injury-wise, he's basically a Mitchell Robinson 0.2, and we don't need two Mitches on this team. That's why I would rather the Knicks go after Jonas Valanciunas. But either way, no matter which way the Knicks go here, if they trade for either a Jonas or a Robert Williams, in the process, they're giving up Mitchell Robinson. And I think that is legitimately the trade that they're going to make if they know that Robinson's not going to come back for a while, his return is being delayed, and they know they need immediate help off the bench that can give you scoring and a little bit of defense. Robert Williams, he checks those boxes. And even though a lot of people don't want to give Jonas Valanciunas even a little bit of credit on defense, he deserves it. He can play some defense, and he's great on offense. Off the bench, he could probably give you a double-double. And getting a double-double off the bench with Karl-Anthony Towns as your starting center, that's important. Not to mention that those two, they can play together. And imagine what they can do on the rebounding end of the ball if they're playing at the same time. Something to consider there. But it's clear the Knicks are exploring their options. And their options at this point are very limited because other teams are starting to go after some of the players that they covet. And now it seems like only Jonas Valanciunas and Robert Williams III are the only players left on the Knicks list. And out of all of those options, I don't know which way the Knicks are going to go. If it were me, I would trade with the Wizards, but maybe they want to go a different direction, and maybe they want to go with the Blazers. Either way, I can't wait to see what Leon Rose does, because at this point, we know a trade is coming. We're just waiting for what trade that's going to be and what we're going to get back. But I am hype and excited because I know whatever it is, it's going to help this team get better moving forward. But what about you guys? What do you think about the following reports indicating that the Brooklyn Nets are the favorites to land Jericho Sims? And what about the reports indicating that the Knicks are currently exploring their trade options on the market? And if they do that, the two players that are likely linked to them are Jonas Valanciunas and Robert Williams III. Let me know how you feel about these reports in the comments section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.